I'll tell you a funny story. When you were when you were at Huffington Post, I think you ramped it up like anything. I think you were doing it live every single day. I mean, I can't imagine how you mustn't have had any time for anything else. Like you really did put your foot down on the accelerator 200%. And it was like every single day researching, doing shows and all the rest of it. And I remember, so, I'm a huge well-wisher, but at the same time, because we kind of knew each other and I'd created content, I started to notice things in myself. So I was thinking like, Jay says to people, press the like button, press the love button. And we've had conversations about this. And I was thinking, how the hell can he just tell people to do that? And I started to really analyze my own thinking and wonder what was it about it that was bugging me. And I realized that it was, here's a guy who obviously believes in what he's saying so much that he doesn't feel shy or in any way two-minded about telling people to share it. And I think that at different times in my life, like I've been really definite about things, and other times you go through periods where you're not crystal clear. And I think that that's the thing. Like you obviously were totally convinced about what you're sharing was really useful to people, because it's very, very rare you'll ever see anyone do that. Like say, do this now, share it, press the like button, share it right now. So tell me, and you mentioned that some of the people at Huffington Post as well said stuff to you. Tell me about that.
I can remember that conversation. So I went live for the first time when I joined the Huffington Post, and I was doing lives from London, but I'd never done a live in a studio with a real setup and on their main page. And it was, it was a big moment for me. And it wasn't even something I planned. So I had the content planned, but I hadn't planned to say, press the like button, press the love button, press the share button. And what I realized in that moment, almost as soon as we went live, was how do people engage? And I know from public speaking for so many years and for creating content for so many years that if people don't feel engaged and a part of the experience, they're not really present with you. And so I was thinking, how do you on a live when everyone can see me, but I can't see them? How do they engage and how do they make themselves known and how do they feel heard? And so it was so much more in the beginning. It wasn't even about me feeling so confident about the content. It was more me feeling, how do people really feel that they are heard and present and with me, and that I notice them, and that they can boost their own positivity. So we've all heard the studies about how if you smile, you naturally feel more positive energy, right? You naturally feel better about yourself. They did the study where they took a pencil and asked people to just keep it between their nose and their lips. And for that, you have to kind of slightly smile, or they asked people to frown. And they found that people who were smiling were more positive and able to solve more problems than people who weren't. And so I feel the same way with when you press that like button, when you press that love button, there is a feeling.
It does feel good, yeah.
It does feel good. Yeah, it's a feel-good power that kind of comes to you. So that was one thing. So I said it in that moment without really having intentionally planned it. And when I came off, my producers and everyone was like, "Hey, did you really just do that?" Like they were like, "Did you really just do that?" And they didn't really talk to me about it until about a week in, when I kept doing it. To me, it was working. And then they were like, "We actually see it working too." But that was their initial reaction. Their initial reaction is, "Why are you telling people?" And what I realized was I wasn't telling people to do it because I thought I deserved it. I was telling people to do it because I wanted them to feel heard and engaged. I was one of the first people, if not the first, to say to people, "Tell me your name and what country you're joining in from."
Yeah.
And I would shout out and be like, "It's so great to see this person from Lebanon and this person from Africa." And I did that because I was excited to see all the countries and I wanted to see where people were from. And I started to realize, like, who wouldn't want to hear their name when they're taking their time to join you? And so to me, it was so much more. And then, yes, when I asked people to press the share button, that was because I believed that what was being shared and the study and the research I was doing from the different books and the different teachers was so powerful that people need to pass this on. And so, yeah, that's the full, and I haven't stopped till this day. I still do it. I was live with Gaur Gopal, a monk, last week.
Yeah.
And I did a friend and a long-term monk, and I did it with him, and I asked people to do it again. And I have no issue in asking for it. It's the same as when you're on stage and you may say, "Hey, how many of you agree with this? Please put up your hand." That's what you do when you're on stage, and it's the same thing on live.
It's a way of personalizing and connecting in what otherwise, as you say, can be a quite potentially disconnected exchange.
Yeah, I mean, lives can be the most lonely experience in the world. And I think if you go live and you ignore the live comments and live engagement, then you're not really live. You might as well have just put up a recorded video. And so the platform is allowing you to do that. And that's what it's there for. So to me, it was a deeper understanding of the platform.
And the interesting thing is of course, in addition to all of those things you say, it's also an incredibly, when you think about how social media works, effective way of the message of sharing as well. It because it pops up here, there, and everywhere. It's like there couldn't be a better way, in a way, almost, to.
Yeah, and I think that's why it has to be genuine, like you said, that you have to be putting out stuff that you think people will find worth sharing. And I was never talking about myself, or I was always sharing stuff that I was reading in this book and that book, or whatever it may have been. And I think that's why you have to feel like you're asking people to share something that genuinely they're going to feel value from, and people won't share it, even if you ask them to, and it's not really adding value to their life, etc. So I think that's a really important part, of course, too.